Meeting of the Fitchburg City Council as a whole. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that anyone in the audience who is recording this meeting to please identify themselves to the record now by standing and stating your name and city of residence. Seeing none, at this time, I ask that all electronic devices be placed into silent mode. Councillor Green, would you please lead us in the salute to the flag?
Certainly.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councillor Green. Here. Councillor Schultz.
Here.
Councillor Van Hazinga.
Here.
Councillor Walsh. Here. President Zarella.
Here.
Councillor Boschman.
An honor to be here.
Councillor Kuchar.
Here.
Councillor Cragen.
Here.
Councillor Cruz.
Here.
Councillor Di Natale.
Here.
Councillor Fleming. We have 10 members present.
Thank you very much. We have no one signed in remotely for public comment. If there is anyone in the audience wishing to comment, please approach the center podium, identify yourself by name and city of residence, and the agenda item on which you wish to speak, and you will be given 2 minutes. Seeing none, we will proceed directly to our agenda. When we left off, we had one remaining cut proposed to community development, cut to the program management assistant / fiscal manager by Councillor Cruz in the amount of $60,657, zeroing out that line item. Councillor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. After some additional conversations with Director Murphy and fellow councillors, I withdraw that motion.
Any objection to the withdrawal?
No.
Seeing none, that cut is withdrawn. Next, we have a cut of $15,000 from City Hall Maintenance Contract Services by Councillor Walsh, leaving a total remaining budget of $15,000. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. After conversations with the administration, I have decided to withdraw my cut.
Objections? Seeing none, that is withdrawn. Next, we have a cut of $30,000 from police overtime. Councillor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. If there's no objections, Mr. President, with the rest of the council, we can take up this one and the next one with fire personal safety overtime as well. It's
Any objection to taking those together?
Same exact thought process for myself.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Essentially, this is just a 4% increase for both departments. Decrease, excuse me. In my opinion, it does not jeopardize public safety and just provides a little bit more flexibility for the administration regarding available funds. This body in my tenure has not once denied a request for additional overtime money, and it would give us a little added flexibility with the available funds if, God forbid, a fire or a public safety incident where required more overtime would ever occur. I think this body would continue to vote as has been and approve it. And so that's why I put this forward. I look forward to hearing from both chiefs. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. We have both our police and fire chief here. You guys can rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first.
Here we go, sir.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Thank you very much, councilors. As you can see from our actual numbers the last several years, our overtime has actually decreased, and that was due to some significant belt tightening, even though pay raises have gone up in each of the last couple fiscal years. I think cutting it even further is asking too much. In addition to that, I submitted my budget and went through the CDBG process at roughly the same time. In years past, all of our drug unit overtime was funded through CDBG. This year, we were notified, Liz Murphy was notified and passed it on to me that that is no longer a proper way to spend that money. So I feel like my $750 is already $40,000 in the hole, to be quite honest, because I now have to cover all my drug unit overtime from my regular overtime line item. So I think another cut on top of that is definitely more than I can bear. but if you cut it, I'll be back asking for more in the spring.
All right. Chief Suarez, did you have something to add to that?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, council members. I will not contest the $22,000 cut to the Fitchburg Fire Department OT account, but I do want to state and just make everyone aware that with the 4 current vacancies that we have, which we are in the process of filling, that these 4 vacancies over the summer months could cost some extra overtime costs, especially in the months of July, August, September. These are the vacation months. Is when our firefighters use most of their vacation time. So this could be an added cost, so I could be coming back at the end of the year due to that. As I said, we are currently in the process of putting these candidates through. They went through the interview process. We selected the 4 candidates. They went through their psych exam yesterday. We have them scheduled for their doctor's physical exam this week. However, I don't think that we're going to be able to get the results back quick enough to schedule their PAT, their state PAT exam by next week so that we could add their names to the agenda for what I believe is next Thursday, June 26th, so we can get them onto the agenda for July 1st. And then we have the break in August, so this would not happen until September. That's why I have these concerns. What I do hope that we can, hopefully you guys could help us with, is that maybe we could suspend the rules for the July 15th council meeting, and as a council as a whole, vote on the 4 candidates and see if we can get them sworn in that night. And that would put us ahead by about 6 to 8 weeks, which could, potentially save us anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 in overtime.
Thank you, Chief Giannini, Chief Suarez. In light of this information that community development block grants has been cut in the amount of $40,000 already, I withdraw the motion and hope to see the 4 new firefighters on time, and I will certainly support suspending the rules at that time to get them in so that you can save that overtime budget. I will withdraw my cuts to numbers 4 and 5 to police and fire personal services.
Any objections? Councillor Green, was there something you still needed to add, or does the withdrawal of the cuts make it moot?
I would just have one question to Chief Giannini. What are the vacancies currently in the police department?
We still have 4 vacancies, just like the fire department. We've also identified the 4 that we'd like to hire. We're still going through the background process, which includes the medical exam, the psych exam, PAT, and Cooper standards. So we have our eye on an August 25th academy that we're hoping we can get these 4 registered in.
So do you predict or forecast that this year there will be forced overtime for some of the police officers?
The summer months are always the roughest with the vacation season. So being down 4 will increase that a little bit. An exact percentage I couldn't give you right now.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's all right. Sorry, just one moment. Just trying to sort something out. All right. Thank you. So with those cuts withdrawn, next we have, thank you, Chiefs.
Thank you, Councilor.
Next we have a block of cuts proposed by myself. We can certainly vote them separately, but if no one minds, I'll speak to them together because, as Councillor Cruz noted with his, it's all the same rationale. Basically, my thought process here is I love the programs that the Parks and Rec departments do. I genuinely do. I'm not blowing smoke here. This is a cut to the increase over last year, where my thought process is simply that if we're going to expand staffing in a given area, there are other departments that are cutting staffing and have told us during the presentations and so forth how the cuts to their staffing are going to be difficult. They all stepped up. They all said they could do it, but they all said that their cuts would be difficult. I'm thinking that if we're going to expand in any particular area, as much as I really respect everything that's been accomplished in this area, this might not be the area of greatest need for expansion, given that we've heard that the programs did well last year. Could they do better with more people? Of course. Every single department in the city could do better with more people. But we heard that it went well last year. And so if it went well last year with the staffing levels that existed then, I'm thinking that doing one more year at those same staffing levels shouldn't be crippling to the programs. Now, I didn't get a chance to connect with either Commissioner Erickson or I'm sorry, my brain just went blank, Director Bunnell, before this meeting. So if I am entirely wrong-headed in my thinking on this, I'm entirely open to being told that, and, I'm flexible. But that's my line of thought. Just a moment, I want to just give the department heads a chance first. Would you guys like to?
Sure. I'll speak at a high level, and then James can kind of fill in on some of the details. But so your line of thinking is understandable, and I respect that. What we're asking for FY26 is level funding and keeping the same staffing levels as we had prior years. The difference between the FY25 actuals and the FY26 request is simply because of the vacancies that we had in FY25. So specific to the parks labor line item, we filled 2 vacancies, one in September and one in November, both with really high quality candidates. So that represents the first time that we've had a full staff of 4 in the parks division for quite some time. So cutting that labor line item would effectively be reducing our staffing level, not increasing it. It would be forcing us to lay off one of our newly hired park staff, which we definitely don't want to do. One of the most frequent complaints that I get, aside from potholes, is for grass mowing, weed trimming, brush clearing in the parks. So obviously this would represent an additional cut to level of service that we can provide, and it would be extremely difficult for us to continue to keep up with that.
If I can just jump back in for a moment, that first line item, the labor line item, that's permanent employees, not
Correct.
Seasonal.
Then
that was included in error on my part. I had not intended to make any cuts to any permanent positions. My thinking was that the temporary seasonal labor and temporary summer programs and so forth would be slots that do not, at the time of budget, have anyone in them. So if there is no objection by council, I would like to withdraw the first of my cuts, because it was not my intent in the first place to make any cuts to permanent staffing levels. Any objections?
No problem.
All right. I'm sorry, back to you guys.
So with that, I'll kick it over to James to talk a little bit more in depth about the temporary laborers, playground instructors, lifeguards, head lifeguard.
Thank you for having me here tonight, councilors. So as you can see, there's different slides up on the board. What these proposals effectively do, I just want to throw some information out there. So many people don't know, City of Fitchburg has 48 what is labeled a park. That's over 575 acres of property. So in comparison to our sister city, they have 12 parks in Leominster. They have 120 acres of property. We have almost 5 times the amount of acreage to maintain. We have to mow around a little over 100 acres of grass. I have 4 full-time staff. We haven't even had 4 full-time staff for a full year because of one way or another since I've been here. We have this year 2 temporary seasonal laborers in parks and then 2 hybrid positions, which were streets and parks. I apologize. That this cut would represent. As Commissioner Erickson said, next to potholes, issues in the park, that's probably the number 2 thing that we get complaints about. On average, we get about 10 to 15, whether it's an email, phone call, social media post, see, click, fix, a week for the parks guys to deal with something. That's on top of mowing, fixing benches, picking up trash that people miss the trash barrels and they have to stop cutting the grass to then go pick up the trash or move rocks that people throw or take care of graffiti, fix a fountain, fix lights, broken equipment. So it's not just mowing a lawn or weed whacking. So we're asked and tasked to do a lot with a little. And I am not complaining about that. But these cuts represent taking away more of what very little we do have to maintain a ginormous amount of property. The city of Fitchburg has a lot of multifamily homes, a lot of apartments, and they continue to push the development, which is a wonderful thing. Apartments don't come with a backyard. Multifamilies home have probably a very small backyard. And even, single homes. People go and use the parks. We have double the size and 12 playgrounds in Fitchburg. Leominster has 6. We have 2 splash pads. That can't open soon enough, I know. Pool can't open soon enough. We already in the next items, so the playground coordinator. I was tasked to grow the programs. I did that. I'm not patting myself on the back, but it's a good thing for the community. My teammate over there, his daughter goes to our program, and she loves it. Many of the kids love it. What I really love about our programs is that we don't turn anybody away. So despite the weekly fee that is $75 to send a child to the summer playground program, 60% of the time that fee gets reduced or waived. More importantly, we service all types of children, whether that children might need some special accommodations like they would be in a classroom, whether they have some learning disabilities or social emotional disabilities as well. For me to then put 1 staff for that child in a group of 10, that's an unreasonable expectation. Just like it would be for 1 teacher to have that in a group, a large class size. No, they get help, they get support. So my playground coordinators, that's not an increase. I didn't change anything, that's the same. What did change? My splash park attendants, last year we had 4, I reduced it to 2. I reduced the amount of hours that they're working as well to save money. The pool concessions, I reduced that as well from 3 to 2 and the number of hours that they're working. There was a difference in lifeguard staffing last year because of when people were onboarded, when people were trained, when they took vacations, there were days that they were sick, there were days that the weather wasn't great, and then certain people had to go back to school. I cannot predict what the weather is, when people are going to go on vacation, when something pops up. I have to establish and deliver a budget that accounts for the pool being open from this day and closing on this day. So I guess I live in a fairy tale world where I expect it to be beautiful every day and everybody's working every day, but that's not the case. I know that, but I have to plan for that.
Just to clarify Director Bunnell's comments, this budget reflects a level funding of staff. If last year were everyday beautiful, this is what that budget would reflect. Last year, however, you might remember it rained many, many weekends as it's starting to this year. That's why the actuals look lower, because of rainy days.
And lastly, if there was any increases, it's not an increase in staff, the kids that do return to positions for us summer after summer, per the city ordinance, they do get a 50-cent increase. So when we love bringing those kids back, it makes our lives a lot easier. The kids do a very great job, the ones that come back, and they enjoy coming back, and we love having them back, and we give them a little incentive to come back. So I didn't add any positions to any of these pieces. Like I said, we do a lot with a very little. My guys take a lot of pride, and I couldn't ask to work with a better team that I have with the Parks guys and Amma in the office and all the kids that work for us. And, you know, the funding, I understand that part. I speak to Commissioner Erickson, the mayor, and councilmen and women, you guys call me different times asking for different things, and we do the best that we can with what we have. So to reduce it anymore, it hurts a lot.
So my understanding had been from the initial budget presentation and the notation in the budget book that this represented a staffing, an actual, not necessarily budgeted, staffing increase over last year. As I said, if I'm mistaken in that, I see that two of my colleagues wish to speak, so I'm not going to withdraw my cut just yet. I don't want to preempt any comments they may have. But like I said, I am very open to being wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll fix it. Councilor Giannatalli.
It's been stated multiple times that we have staffing cuts in the city. No, we don't. There are no staffing cuts. The HR department is one less person because the person left, and parking has one less person. Other than that, there's no staffing cuts in this budget. So no one's taking one on the chin. That's all. No staffing cuts.
Councilor Green?
I'm just wondering, I have noted here $75 per week per kid for the summer program, but where does that appear on the line item for revenue?
You'll see an offset in the recreation line. We increased that offset this year.
So basically, that money goes into the revolving account, and then, if need be, that money then goes towards offsetting salary costs. But that same amount of funding, too, that's to cover supplies that we use for the program.
Right, so I'm looking on page 34, and I see less revolving fund under recreation, $15,000 in red in parentheses. And then further down, under pool and splash park, less revolving fund, $25,000 in red in parentheses. So $40,000 is the revenue that the rec department makes?
That's the amount of revenue that's offsetting the budget.
Which is essentially a full-time position, correct? Would that be close to a full-time position that you are funding in your department?
More or less, yes or no. I mean, there's additional funding that would have to go with a full-time person that you'd have to account for, but.
Yeah, I'd say it's a substantial portion of a full-time employee, depending on where they come in, what licenses they come in with, et cetera. If they come in at a laborer position, it's going to be pretty close to that number. If they come in as a light motor equipment operator, it'd be a little bit more. Heavy equipment motor operator, a little bit more. So it all depends on what qualifications an employee would have. But that $40,000 is a substantial amount of money.
Right, well, I'm looking at the proposed cuts put before us, and rough math, but in the recreation department, lifeguard proposed cut at $28,000, recreation, a head lifeguard cut at $13,000. I mean, those two cuts alone could be self-funded by the revenue that's created, correct?
We did increase the offset, right, $25,000.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Brochman.
Mr. President, a couple of weeks ago, in front of the Finance Committee, he explained him and them explained everything that was going on in the budget, in all fairness to them, and I understood them very clear. If I understood it had to be really good, and he didn't get no hard time with me. But I do got one question for you. You talked about the concession stand, and you said you cut down the hours. Wasn't the concession stand making money?
We sell, well, they're, at the pool house, they are in charge of the people that come in on a daily basis, taking the money from them, and then we sell just like regular snacks like water, popsicles, freeze pops, bags of chips. So it's not, I wouldn't say, it's not like a big cash cow, unless it's more covering the costs of the snack and maybe making a quarter or 50 cents on what we sell. Things are like $1, maybe $1.50, like a candy bar. It's not a giant revenue generator. It's more of to provide somewhat of a convenience for the people that are using the pool to not have to leave and go get something if they want, something to eat while they're there.
The only reason why I asked that question is I'm down there because my granddaughter plays softball in a league, and when I see the ice cream truck come, whether you're rich or poor, they line up for 5 deep or 10 deep. And let me explain something to you. I sold ice cream. They're not paying $1. The average price on an ice cream truck is $5. $5. So if you think, I don't know how to put it, if you think you're hurting somebody because you went over there and you charged that less fortunate kid $75 to $1, but that same less fortunate kid is over there buying an ice cream for $5. And we got to, I don't know how to put it, we don't, Auntie, help me out. We're trying to help you. I'm trying to help you to make it better. Why not have these products when you actually literally see the line out the door? For the same thing that you could do there at a less cost, and they'll come to you all the time. Really, I'm telling you, you could put me out of business.
Councilor Bushman wants a cash cow.
Huh? I mean, really, you cut down something that's a moneymaker, that you're selling a product, for what? When you get a line of people there. I go down there at night, that park is full.
Counselor, you're making good points, but I didn't propose any cuts to the concession
Well,
stand.
he just said he's making, he told us.
I understand, but we do need to stay focused so we can get to the full council agenda.
Oh my God, I'm trying to help you out.
No, absolutely, help out. By all means.
Listen,
love to see
I'm not going to support Anthony on these. I believe in 100% of that. I believe the kids need somewhere to go. I honestly do. I think we're a fool if we cut it. I think an idle mind's a trouble mind. To keep on telling the chief that, I'll tell everybody that. An idle mind's a trouble mind. And I was young once, and I know. And there's no place for anybody to go when they're 16, 17, 18. The critical years are 13, 14, 15. They're critical years. They're hard to please, and it's hard to find somebody. I believe when what they're doing is good. I honestly do. I think we're foolish if we try to nickel dime this guy that he's trying to take care of the residents' kids. And that's just what we want. We want them at the parks. We want more people at the parks, because the more people you have at the park, the more people use. You can already see it. He can swear by it. I can swear by it. He can swear by it. Go down there when they have the tournament. They're from all over the state, and they're coming down to Coolidge Park. All over it. It's marvelous. And it's, you don't get good advertisement. We always read in the paper, and you read on Facebook how bad we are. But go down there and see how good you are. Yeah. That's all. You heard enough of me. I know I'm going sidetrack again, but I'm telling you the truth. We'll be a fool if we cut it. And I'm not trying not to cut the budget. I understand. We're short money. You'll hear me speak on the same thing. We're short money and that, but I'm not going to take. I don't usually say this, Anthony, and you ought to know it, because everybody comes up with the same. The kids. Well, this time here, I mean the kids, because the kids are right on this thing here. I've seen them there, and I'll help them out. I got no qualms on that. Not this time. So you got my vote. So if you got my vote, that's a good sign.
Thank you, Counselor.
All right. Well, I'll just reiterate, my proposed cuts were premised exclusively on the idea that this was an increase in staffing levels over last year. I know it wasn't an increase over the budgeted levels, but I was under the impression that it was still a straight increase in number of people being hired. I was incorrect in that, and so if no one objects, I will withdraw these cuts because it was never my intention to actually reduce services in these line items. Any objections?
I got no problem with that one, Ken.
All right. Thank you very much, and I apologize for the hassle.
Thank you.
Thank you, councilors.
Thank you.
Next, we have a proposed cut zeroing out the line item for kitchen coordinator for the Council on Aging. This is Councilor Brochman.
I can honestly tell you, councilors, I am not going to withdraw this petition. I feel strongly about this position. I feel that this position is unneeded. I'll repeat my statement, unneeded. I think we have the lady chair that she is the boss. If there's a problem in the kitchen, like you do to Paul Boschman, point of order, Mr. Boschman, stay focused. She's the boss. If there's a problem in the kitchen, you get everybody together as a team and you explain to her, I'm the boss, I run the show. We have a problem here, you come to me, I'm going to appoint somebody to be the head, and you follow them. I know they're volunteers. I understand they're volunteers. But number one, we never use the form or a grant to pay for help. That's number one. Number two, this budget here, with this week here or next week here, in our budget, we get $25,000 going out to the senior center to fix some of the bricks that are falling out of the building. Well, you figure it out. We're giving $50 because there's another $25 also with that $25. There's $50. And if you have another $25, there's $75,000. You can do wonders. Now you're going to come back to me and you're going to say to me, well, the seniors don't own the place. They don't own it. Well, who uses it? Paul don't use it, and I'm a senior. And I grant you, she's going to tell you when she comes up here, she's going to argue with me. Our membership went up. You're absolutely right. I was a member, I said this at the last meeting, I was a member of the Elks. Very proud of it. Me and Paul Bazikas, we went in at the same time. But I never used it. Never once did I use it. But I was a member of the Elks. I say the same thing to her. Many people are members of the senior center, but they don't use it for the reason being parking is impossible. It's impossible. And when you're elderly and you're 70, 75, 80, 85 years old, you don't like to walk.
The reasons why people do or don't utilize the senior center to a greater degree really are a bit far afield from
everything I say. We're fine. We think we're all doctors here. We're dissecting everything here. Listen, I'm not in favor of it. I'm not in favor of the cut. I think we could utilize that money better to help us maintain their building, to fix it up beautiful and keep it. Because if we don't fix it, it falls apart. We don't fix the roof, it leaks. A leaky roof makes the floor go bad. The floor goes bad, the elderly can't use it. So you're in a vicious cycle. It takes a team. We work together, we chip our money together, and you fix it. But if you don't have it, and we don't have it, I'll keep on emphasizing what Marcus said to us, the mayor said it, the auditor said it, we're $4.5 million behind this year. Guarantee, maybe not. We had the experts with the educational papers gave us a thing saying the outlook for the next 5 to 6 years is $6 million a year. And then to top that off, and I'm going to repeat it again on my last cut, Proposition 2.5 may be an override. Rainwater may be taxable. Rubbish is going up, and I'm in favor of those two. And maybe water and sewers are going up because they're doing a rate study now because we can't afford it because people are conserving water, and our rates are going up again because you all got the letter that I got. And then I want to propose another thing, a road fee tax on the roads. So there, I'll tell her that. So this way here, Mayor, you know, that I'm not going to vote for this thing here today, and if it's 10-1, it's 10-1. But it's going to be that way with me. Because I feel strongly that that building is a beautiful building, and it takes everybody to chip in to fix it. And $25,000 more would help us out than hiring somebody to dictate to say, Mary over here, take that dish and put it over here. No, I'm not doing that. Sorry. Thank you, councilors, for putting it over me. I'm surprised I didn't hear the point of order. I'm surprised I didn't even hear my feelings. So I take that point of order.
Thank you. Councilor Green.
Yes, I'm in full support of this position. It's 100% grant funded, so it does not cost the city anything. And if you've ever been on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday to the luncheons at the senior center, the amount of not only service that the senior center provides to our seniors is commendable. But if we want that avenue to grow, we need a coordinator so that the director can remain in her office and do the work that she's tasked to do. There are times when the seniors require more help than just coming in and getting a meal, checking out a book in the library, participating in the activities. Sometimes they need direction. And I'm not willing to have Ms. Keck give up those responsibilities to oversee the kitchen. So I will never be in support of eliminating that position, considering it doesn't cost the city anything. And we, as councilors, benefit from that. You forget how many times that we have had to utilize the senior center because of weather or because we have a city event that needs to be held in the Armory, the senior center. So it's not just for seniors, it's for us as well. So you have my full support. I will not be voting for this cut, and anything that I can do to help promote or ensure the longevity of the Armory, I'm going to do. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Green.
Councilor Schultz.
Yes, I agree with Councilor Green. I will not support this cut. I think it's a good thing that we have a kitchen. We're going to have a kitchen coordinator, because to always have that role as a volunteer, it's problematic, and I don't think Director Keck should be in the kitchen. Have to be in the kitchen. She has other duties to perform, and so I won't be supporting your cut. Thank you. I yield the floor.
Councilor Gianatoli.
You know, my frustration in hearing this is hearing my colleague who proposed this cut equate this position not happening to all the other things he referenced in this report that no one shares online. There's a reason it's not being shared. Councilor Boschman, with all due respect, cutting a kitchen coordinator position in the senior center, which is fully grant funded and part-time, is not going to save the city from this report that no one has seen. So I sit here and I roll my eyes because I get lambasted for proposing $1.5 million in real cuts when this report says we're in big trouble that no one has seen. And yet I got to sit here and listen to one of my colleagues talk about pinning our hopes to the future on the kitchen coordinator for the senior center. Something's not adding up to me, where we feel passionately, some of us anyway, or one of us, about this. But the real heart of the matter, we don't want to do it. So I'm not going to support this because it's ridiculous to hinge the hopes of this kitchen coordinator on our deficit. It's needed, it's grant funded, it's part-time. And $25,000 is not going to do anything for the sustainability of that facility. That facility needs six-figure plus work. 25 grand is going to do nothing. But I apologize for my frustration because priorities are out of whack here. That's it.
Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I am not in favor of this cut either. As part of my day job, I happen to visit the 10 senior centers in our district once a month. I was there yesterday at the Fitchburg Senior Center. The volunteers who work there are very dedicated, but they are not trained in doing things like taking the temperature of food before you serve it, and all of the other practices that would save the people who eat there from getting sick if something goes wrong. So the kitchen coordinator position is not just somebody who's telling them, put that plate over there and take those cups over there. This is a position that has some real, real need for safety. So I'm not going to support this cut, and in addition, it's a grant-funded job, so it's not going to save us any money. So I'm not in favor.
Mr. Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. President. The meal program at the Senior Center has been incredibly successful, and it's valuable to the seniors in our community. It should be continued. We've been very fortunate to have some very dedicated volunteers that make it possible, but you can only ask so much of volunteers. That there does need to be professional oversight with health safety certifications. This is a role that we need. It was mentioned that the Armory building does need a lot of work, and this is absolutely true. We do need to make an investment in that building, but it's also important to acknowledge that the Senior Center is one of several tenants of the building. There are 2 other agencies upstairs, and there's also a large hall that's used for all sorts of community events outside of the Senior Center programs. So the formula funds are intended to support the provision of programs to our seniors, and we shouldn't be siphoning that off to pay for a building that's not just used by the Senior Center. So I don't support this cut. Thank you.
Councilor Kuchar.
Thank you. I want to just agree with my fellow councilors in regards to being against this cut. It's grant funded, no effects to the city budget. I mean, it couldn't be clearer. We need to keep this position because it's only going to burden the people that need the most help. So I would not be for the cut.
Councilor Cragan.
I'm in agreement with everyone who's spoken on all the matters on which they speak, especially the oversight in terms of the food safety. Having had numerous conversations with Sean Michael and Steve Curry, that's absolutely critical. But I want to draw everyone's attention to average volunteer age 78 years. Unbelievable. I mean, that's Fitchburg. People 78 years old, people who are, almost a score of years past starting to receive retirement money are volunteering. And it is unconscionable that we would depend on them to do the work that needs to be done, which Director Keck has been overseeing, to the benefit of our residents and residents of other communities. I have wonderful conversations there, and the food is great. And I don't understand why this is even on the table, so to speak. So I will not be in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Brochman.
In response to my fellow councilors, I understand what you're all saying. In all fairness to Paul Brochman, we all sat at this council, even the mayor sat over there. When they got rid of the coordinator, I didn't see anybody complaining. You didn't think about the seniors then. A couple of years ago, we hired a full-time coordinator to come and help them with directions. And going back to the food, let me explain something else to you. According to Steve Curry and his rules, they're supposed to be all qualified and trained to handle the food. That's number one. Number two, they're not making the food. Monty Tech comes in and they deliver the food. Monty Tech is responsible for the food. They are servers. All they do is pick it up and bring it to the table like a waitress. That's what, yes, they are. And they're serving. They're not responsible for that food. If somebody gets sick, Monty Tech is responsible. You don't believe me? He's a lawyer. He ought to know. And I seen an oh, I'm sorry about that, but I'm talking to him. I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to the chair. I can't point you out. And it says that. So I'm just saying that. So don't try to make me feel bad. I'm not feeling bad about it. I respect the senior. I'm a senior. But there's only 35 to 50 people that eat there. You make it sound like we're feeding an army. That's what you make it sound. We're not feeding an army. I've been there. I have been in there numerous times. And I've been there to campaign one time, and I also been in there to pass out food, to bring food in. With you, Amy Green. You saw me in it. So I stay by my... I understand it's not a lot of money, but add it up. 50,000 and 25 in my book is 75 less. We get a new kind of mat. Another 25 is 100 grand. Another 25 is 125. So it adds up. And they never had that. We never used the formula grant to hire somebody. It was never used. It was used to repair the building because they bought the furnace and some other stuff with it and different programs.
President Sorella.
Yes.
What's that?
May I clarify something, please?
Just one moment. The counselor does have the floor, but if he's willing to hear a clarification.
Let the young lady argue with me.
Go right ahead.
I just want to let you know that the formula grant actually covers like 26% of my salary and half of the principal clerk's salary. So this isn't the first time that the formula grant has paid for help.
And the other thing I also want to point out, Ms. Goodwin, who ran that place for 25 years, if I'm not mistaken, quote, maybe Andy can help me on that. We didn't give her any help. As a matter of fact, we kept on trying to cut it. We tried to cut it every time.
Counselor.
All of us.
Counselor.
Well, I'm just saying, we're saying one thing to the public, but we did the opposite things.
Counselor, we're the council that's here now, and we're voting on this cut now.
I'm just explaining it. Don't try to make me feel like a bad guy, because I'm not a bad guy.
I don't think anyone's trying to make you feel like a bad guy,
I respect the
Counselor.
elderly, and I know this $25,000 is not going to save $4.5 million. I understand that wholeheartedly. And I understand what Mr. DiNatale tried to do before. And I try to support him on what I believe should have been forward.
Counselor, let's just
all right.
to the cut at
hand. I'll go back to it. Go ahead, vote 10-1. Go ahead.
All right. Do I have a motion on this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Anyone on the motion? All in favor of making the cut?
Oh.
In opposition? Motion fails by a vote of 1 to 9.
Oh, 1 to 9. Oh, Marusha's not here.
Thank you, councilors.
Thank you. Next, we have a cut of $11,000 from library adult book and material. Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have Director Hinkle here to speak about it, but we've chatted. It's my understanding that even a moderate 10% cut that I've offered would jeopardize their MBLC grant funding and their accreditations. If she'd like to speak on that, she's more than welcome, but I will withdraw this as well.
Any objection to withdrawing?
None from me.
All right, that cut will be withdrawn. And lastly, we have a cut of $50,000 from the Johnny Appleseed Center. Councilor Brochman.
Councilor Brochman again. And Johnny Appleseed's in front of me again. Okay, I'm going to make it sweet. You don't have to get up. You can sit down because the vote's going to be 9-1, so we'll sit down for a minute. But I'll explain to you, Sir. The city of Fitchburg is facing something big. Marcus has been trying to tell each and every one of us that we have a major problem in this city, a major problem. I'll go back and I'll tell the public, this is no laughing matter. We are looking at an override. I'm not going to support an override. I'll fight it tooth and nail. But we're looking at an override. A lot of money we're going to talk about. I think Mr. DiNatale can tell you how much it is, because I'm not as good as he is with numbers. We're looking at an override. We're looking at a rubbish fee. We're looking at an MS4 program. We're looking at a water rate increase, all on the backs of us. I'm a taxpayer too. Every one of us we're looking at. If I gave him $50,000 today, and I go out there to the public and say, you just got done telling me we're $50,000 in the red and you're giving away money. You're giving away $50,000. Why? Why are you giving $50,000 away? Why? Because the chart says so. The chart? Oh, I go to Leominster. Does that mean I'm a tourist? I want to buy an ice cream cone because I happen to be there and I happen to want ice cream. I'm not doing business days. I just saw an ice cream and I felt like having an ice cream. But I just say, well, I'm not saying bring it down. If you guys want to cut it a little bit, cut it. But to say to the public every day for the last 20 hours, we're $4.5 million in the road, and we're going to be $5 to $6 million next year, $5 to $6 million a year after, $5 to $6 million a year after. And if things don't change around, and I'm telling you we're heading bad, it's going to get even worse than what it is out there. Mark my word, we don't know where this government's going. We don't know what's going to cut and what we're going to have. It's getting bad. And, you know, we tried to save people's jobs. Whether you people want to believe it or not, we tried. And I want to talk about it after because I am upset. So I'm telling you, I'm not going to support you today. If they want to make a cut of something, I'll support that. If they can't find it in their hearts to bring you down to 0, then I'll listen to them. But if they say it's 9-1, I'm going with 0. Because I can't go out to my residents in Fitchburg and in Clegon and say I gave $50,000 away and not even try. Whether I look like the fool the way I talk or not, I don't care. I gave it away. I gave it to you.
Counselor, point made.
All right. I yield the floor.
Counselor Green.
I would like to say that, again, the $50,000 that is our part of the contribution to the Johnny Appleseed Center yields more than that back to us. That the work that they do there, maybe, this may be a stretch, but maybe ensures that some of these businesses stay open, that maybe they are able to keep people employed because of the work that our chamber does and the Johnny Appleseed Center provides. So I'm going to hold fast that I'm not going to vote to cut any of their funding because what we get in return is so much more than that. So I applaud the effort that the chamber makes, that the Johnny Appleseed Center does on our behalf. So I don't want to take away funding for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize. I forgot to give you guys a chance to speak before I went to counselors.
No problem, Counselor. Thank you. For the record, Roy Nascimento, I have the honor and privilege of serving as the President and CEO of the North Central Massachusetts Chamber of Commerce. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but I think our organization's a great organization, very dynamic, does a lot of good work in the community. I think we're a very strong champion of Fitchburg and of the communities here in North Central Massachusetts. And you see that every day. It's evidenced by the work that we do, whether it be the millions of dollars in loans that we provided to small businesses here in North Central Massachusetts, the grants that we provided, the direct technical assistance, the scholarships we've given out, the sponsoring of signs here in the city of Fitchburg. We do a lot of good work here in Fitchburg. We're also headquartered here in the city. I want to remind the City Council of that. We pay property taxes. We pay other taxes. We have staff members here. Travis Condon, our Public Affairs Director, is here. Saber Reyes is here in the back. She's our Visitor Center Manager, along with some additional staff from the Visitor Center who are Fitchburg residents. We employ a lot of Fitchburg residents. And again, you know, we're very much committed and big partners. We view ourselves as partners, connectors, facilitators. We've advocated for the city at the state level, and we'll continue to do that, and you can count on us to be a partner. So I'm not here to talk about the chamber, though. I'm here to talk about the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association, which is a separate organization, separate legal entity, its own board of directors. In my role as president of the chamber, I also serve as president on the board of the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association, which does business as Visit North Central Massachusetts. And I would encourage the council today to vote no on this cut. And it would really do a great deal of harm, not only to our organization, but to Fitchburg itself, the biggest beneficiary of the work that we do promoting the region. And I think the councilor made a point that you're giving the money out, giving it out to me. And so you're not giving it to me, obviously. It's to this organization, the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association. A couple of key points that I want to just draw your attention to. And first point is, and you've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again, I use the analogy of a three-legged stool. We are fundamentally a partnership, an economic development partnership, which is supported by the state through state grants, tourism grants, by our local communities like Fitchburg that take a portion of their rooms tax revenue and invest it in this regional marketing strategy because they realize that they can't do much alone, but pooling those resources with other communities, with state dollars, you can have more leverage, you can do more, and have more of an impact. And then the third leg of that stool is the private sector, businesses that also step up and contribute because they recognize that attracting more visitors with a little jingle in their pocket, there's an economic impact there. It's going to mean prosperity for our local businesses, for our local communities, more tax revenue, more visitor spending, and all of that we track, and it's been a success story here in North Central Massachusetts, and particularly for Fitchburg, which is the biggest beneficiary. So point number 2, we deliver strong results. There's a strong return on investment for all of the communities here in North Central Massachusetts, but particularly Fitchburg. So I have here a study from the state, the most recent data on visitor spending from tourism, and it's done by a firm. It's a pretty big report here, hundreds of pages, and happy to take a look at it. It's done by a firm called Dean Runyon and Associates, economic development firm. And for calendar year 2023, which is the last full year that they have data for, 2024, we'll get those results in the fall at the end of the year. But for North Central Massachusetts, visitor spending grew to $496 million, almost $500 million in direct visitor spending. That doesn't even include indirect spending. And unfortunately, they no longer break it down by community, so I don't know how much of that visitor spending was Fitchburg specific, but based on past precedent, the majority of that, a big chunk of that, not the majority, but a big chunk of it, by far the largest beneficiary was Fitchburg. And that makes sense because you have more attractions here in the community. You have Great Wolf, Hollis Hills, you have the university, you have Game On, a lot of visitor destinations. So the community is benefiting, our restaurants are benefiting, other businesses are benefiting from those visitors. Point number 3, tourism is highly competitive. I've mentioned this before, want to mention it again. We are not the only region, and Fitchburg is not the only community that wants those room tax revenues and those meals tax revenues. There are other communities that are competing for those visitors. We're competing against other regions, other communities in our state, other states that want those visitors. And there's an old saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So cutting this funding will reduce our ability to promote and market ourselves as a great region to visit. And point number 4, Fitchburg's contribution to the partnership has been level funded for about 10 years now. We're not asking for an increase, and that we're asking to be level funded. And that represents a cut because, as you know, inflation, our costs have gone up, costs of advertising have gone up, our staff costs have gone up, other costs have gone up. So our expenses have gone up, but we're not asking for an increase. It's been level funded for a number of years. And then point number 5, we recognize there's no shortage of need. Taxes are needed to help deliver the good services that residents expect and need. But this cut really is counterintuitive and not well thought out. It's not a lot of money to our organization, JADA. It is a lot of money, to our organization, JADA, but it's not a lot of money. It's a very small portion of the city budget. And I recognize there's tremendous need, but the overall makeup, it's not going to make much of a difference to the city, but it's going to be a devastating cut to us and to our organization and the ability to do what we do, marketing Fitchburg and marketing North Central Massachusetts. So this will make the budget situation worse long-term by reducing future revenue, because this is an investment and it's helping to attract more tax dollars to the community of Fitchburg. And again, Fitchburg has benefited the most of any community. I look at the tax revenue. I just went online today and looked at the rooms tax revenue, and Fitchburg brought in the most rooms tax revenue of any community in the region. So with that, again, we encourage you to vote against this cut. And we thank you for all of your support and your time today on this very important economic development issue. Happy to take any questions.
Councilor James Tolley.
I'm going to make a motion that we accept the cut.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the cut. Speaking on the motion. All in favor? In favor of making the cut? And in opposition? Motion fails by a vote of 1 to 9.
Thank you, councilors, and thank you, Mayor.
All right, that concludes our cuts. We are not done our council as a whole meeting. We do have to actually go through the budget orders that were referred to this committee.
Oh, my stomach.
The first one we have is the general budget appropriation. I note that we have an. I'm sorry?
That's the new amount with the cuts we did last week, so this would be the new voted amount.
Excellent, thank you. I note that we need 2 amendments to 100-25. In its current form, it reads, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the mayor's fiscal year 2026 operating budget, general fund $181,515,682. In light of cuts that we did approve, we need to amend that to read $181,464,682.
Move to amend.
Second.
I have a motion and second to make the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. In opposition? Seeing none. And secondly, we received information there was an error in the wastewater enterprise fund's bottom line. It currently reads $20,126,481. It should read $20,037,331.
Move to amend.
Second.
I have a motion and second. If there's no objection, we'll do this by unanimous consent. Seeing no objection, it is amended. We now have the amended operating budget before us.
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion and second to accept. On the motion, Councillor Gianatali.
Mr. President, I speak this evening in opposition to Mayor Squalia's fiscal year 2026 proposed budget. This proposal relies on $3.8 million in one-time funds to balance, indicating a structural deficit where expenses exceed revenues by that amount. I would argue the deficit is worse, since after 49 weeks out of 52.2 in FY25, the landfill revenues are projected to be $400,000 below what is proposed in FY26. This deficit, combined with FY25's on July 1st, represents a total of at least $8.2 million in one-time funds to balance, exceeding the prior 11 fiscal years where the city used $7.7 million combined. Let me repeat, in just 2 years under the Squalia administration, the city has relied on at least $8.2 million in one-time funds to balance 2 budgets compared to the prior 11 budgets combined. This is unprecedented, and the situation is only going to get worse if, in part, expense austerity measures are not taken. We are in this situation through no fault of the mayor nor her predecessor. This is primarily driven by unforeseen and unprecedented increases in health insurance costs felt statewide and countrywide. I do, however, hold the mayor responsible for how this situation is addressed. Robust reliance on one-time funds is dangerous, as CLA and Mass DOR state. Why? Because those funds may not be available the next fiscal year or at the levels it has historically been. It furthermore constrains the city from addressing its ever-growing capital needs as more is diverted to general fund expenses. In fiscal year 2025, the mayor and city council adopted a meals tax, higher hotel tax, higher municipal fees, and the mayor imposed the normal 2.5% property tax levy increase. Despite all these added revenues, the budget is still out of balance by practically the same amount in FY25, emphasizing the reality that the situation is not improving, contrary to what the mayor is stating. I have long held the position that if you do not put forth any substantive amendments to a budget plan a mayor submits, then you are obligated to support it. Having it both ways is when you vote against a budget you could have tried to amend but didn't. My proposal, amounting to $1.5 million in cuts, represented only 0.008% of the proposed general fund budget. Much of these cuts were not in reality cuts, but rather reductions in the rate of growth. Departments would still have more money in these accounts next fiscal year, just not as much as the mayor allotted. The majority of my proposals were simply akin to a hiring freeze for 1 year, removing currently vacant positions that wouldn't impact existing operations since departments are operating already without them currently and have been for some time. With deficits this large, the obvious immediate action to take is not funding open positions. However, the mayor did not do this. After 4+ hours last week, this council refused to adopt over 90% of my amendments after only the first page. It was clear to me at that point that proceeding with the rest of my proposals would have been futile, and therefore I withdrew the rest so as not to waste any more time. However, the council's actions did surprise me, and shame on the mayor for mocking my proposals at her Flap TV interview just today, as if I don't know the city's finances and what departments do. I'll remind the public that my experience with city government far surpasses the mayor by a factor of 3, and I am the only councilor who experienced real cuts to city services between 2008 and 2012. When there were budgets before the city council that had far less deficits to address than this one and the last one, some of my colleagues were apoplectic, including then Councilor Squalia. Yet Councilor Squalia at the time never proposed any substantive cuts, nor supported any yet voted against the budgets. A classic case of having it both ways. But for FY25 and FY26, especially now with the CLA analysis, that same level of concern is apparently absent, and you certainly do not see much, if any, of amendments. While councilors may say they are concerned, their actions or lack thereof on this budget, in my opinion, would suggest otherwise. While I agree we cannot cut our way out of this situation, it certainly needs to be part of the solution. I've been consistent, and to prove that, this isn't personal, under Mayor DiNatale, I voted against 5 of his 8 budgets. The most frustrating aspect of this latest budget situation is the mayor's continued public distortions and omissions of what is really going on financially. If you read or listen to the mayor, you would believe that our budget situation is strong and only getting stronger. No mention of record-high one-time funds to balance, no mention of structural deficits, no mention of the fact that no real austerity measures have been made. And why? Because the mayor has long built her brand on supposed transparency, when in actuality it's more akin to selective transparency. The mayor to this day refuses to share on her Facebook pages any of our budget meetings. Why? The mayor to this day refuses to share both her FY25 and FY26 budgets on her Facebook pages. Why? The mayor refuses to update the mayor's section of the city website to include both the 25 and 26 budgets.
Counselor,
why?
Counselor, we're not here to deliberate the actions or policies of the mayor outside
of my vote on the budget, Mr. President. I haven't spoken at all tonight.
Counselor, you can speak about the budget. Just about the budget.
This is the mayor's budget, Council. I'm speaking about the mayor's budget.
The contents of the budget, not what the mayor does or doesn't do on social media.
Okay, so she gets to say whatever she wants, but I can't say anything that I want in public session.
She's not speaking during public session here.
She speaks enough outside of public session.
And you can too.
See what I mean? The answer is obvious why this stuff isn't shared, and the public loses by this blatant omission of information. Instead, councilors like myself who do share this information are called obsessive liars. With respect to our recent bond rating improvement, which ties to this budget, that rating improvement is largely tied to 3 factors: ability to pay our debts, stabilization fund, and the last 3 closed fiscal years of financials, which would be 22, 23, and 24. All fiscal years of her predecessor. Fitchburg's ability to pay our debts has been solid since 2019, and our stabilization fund is at $9.4 million currently, and of that balance, Mayor Squalia is only responsible for 3.7% of that. That means 96.3% of that fund balance is due to the mayor's 2 predecessors, Wong and DiNatale. FY25 is not a major part of that assessment, as it is still active, and FY26 is not, as it is yet to begin. So while credit is being taken for this rating improvement, this budget shows it has little to do with the analysis, or next to nothing. The CLA report forecasts that Fitchburg's financial situation will be well close to $9 million in deficit by 2030 if current practices continue. It recommends not only austerity measures in this budget that the mayor and a majority of this council refuses to do, but it most importantly adds revenue measures to address. CLA recommended the implementation of a stormwater maintenance tax, a trash pickup tax, and a voter-approved Prop 2.5 override, which is a permanent increase in the tax levy above and beyond what residents already experience for taxation each year. CLA further states that even if just the stormwater and trash tax were implemented, the city's deficit would still be $6 million by 2030. What does this mean? It means that the only way Fitchburg will become structurally balanced in this budget is if and only if an override is approved by voters to raise property taxes in perpetuity by well over $600 per year, which would be roughly $800 to $900 in annual increases when you factor in the normal 2.5 increase without the override. Does the public know any of this? Are they told any of this? Other than by me, to the best of my knowledge, they are not. It is my professional opinion that this package and this CLA report proposes clear signals that the mayor and the council will soon seek approval for these kinds of revenue measures. You cannot have a budget like this and not rely on that. That's what this budget is saying. We are not going to be serious about cutting expenses because coming next year or at the end of this fiscal year, those revenue measures will be put forth to the council and to the public to vote on. Mark my words. This budget clearly indicates a wait-and-see, cross our fingers, delay the inevitable approach. And that is the complete opposite of a fiscally responsible and financially improving budget. Therefore, I will not vote on approving this budget as it is currently constituted. And to the taxpayers of Fitchburg, be prepared for what this administration and the next council are coming to you for by way of more taxes, higher taxes, and fees. I have no doubt when people watch my statement this evening, I will be called certain names and there will be distortions made of me. I just ask that the public watch this clip and read the information. And for those who have not seen this information, please email me and I will send it to you because that is what true transparency is. And you have a right to know what's coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I want to commend and applaud the councilor at large who just spoke for his words. The warning signs and the things that we're saying, they're not made up. The report that we got is telling, it's concerning, and as much as we would like to grow our way out of it, we're not just going to grow our way out of it, and we can't just cut our way out of it. And that's why I also will not be voting in favor of this budget tonight. We proposed, as a whole, this body, 141 cuts. We weren't able to come to majority vote on the vast majority of them. We weren't able to get 6 votes on quite a few of them. So I understand the frustration and the withdrawals. Some of the withdrawals myself came because of the simple truth that they're not going to pass. And that's on us to come maybe together more as a body in the next time, as best we can, or to leave it on the executive branch, which has considerable amount of more leeway to make these difficult decisions and to show some strong leadership here and make the challenging choices that our fiscal future demands. And I would encourage all of my colleagues who I admire and respect to consider pushing back on the current proposal that we have, even though we couldn't come to agreements on the majority of the 141 cuts that were proposed. We have an opportunity to say no, to say the executive branch, you have to go back to the drawing board. You have to make the difficult choices that we couldn't agree on. And we're not going to approve of the budget until you do. And that's how I feel about it, and I would encourage the rest of the councilors to consider that. I think it's important. We are the check and balance, and we have an opportunity to do that here tonight. Even if we couldn't come to agreements together, we can still agree on that. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Councilor Brochman.
Mr. President, in all fairness, I really don't. The only thing I was going to say tonight is I was really upset, and Marcus really touched on it. He did a marvelous job, and I agree with him. He said it better than I do. I get carried away. But I just don't like what's going on. I don't like what I read. I really do. I know Counselor, but you have to understand, what I read, I interpret, and I don't like it when somebody's trying to turn the public against my 11 counselors. I feel like I have your back, and I feel that when something's said, it affects each and every one of us. And this is what I brought up. I know you're going to say stick to the budget. I really don't know. I know that they worked very hard. Honestly, they did. I've seen people working many hours to try. And I believe that I honestly came here not to cut people's jobs. And I think I even told the mayor in the hallway, she can swear, talk about that I didn't want anybody to lose their job, because it's devastating when you lose your job. It's not as easy as you think. I know, I've been there. It's very, very hard, especially when you get to a certain age, even though we say age discrimination does not count. When you get a young guy that wants to climb that corporate ladder and you're up in your 40s and 50s and he's telling you you're not moving fast enough, you really get upset. And you really get frustrated, and you get angry, and you really start going downhill. And that's why I felt the way I did. I know, Mr. President, I'm just saying, but I just didn't like the atmosphere of us getting blamed, that we were trying to do a job to protect City Hall. Believe it or not, the kid worked hard. We butt heads over there, but he worked hard. But so did the people, the financial team, and I can't overlook that. Because I think you saw him when we walked, and you two, walked out of the meetings and we seen the lights on, and we said at 9:30 at night, seeing heads popping up and down, writing and doing stuff, and and I can't overlook that. Do I know what I'm going to do tonight? I don't know. I don't really know. I was going to reject the budget. I really was. But then I kind of felt, I hate to say it, Council, feelings came into play. Whoa. And not supposed to use feelings, but my feelings came into play. And so if I listen to some of my counselors, I shouldn't show my feelings. I should just say, the hell with it, cut the budget. But people worked awful hard. They thought they were doing the right things. We tried. We had to convince 11 of you guys. I had to, every time I had to convince you. You think it's my feelings ain't hurt when I go home? I don't open a beer. I have a popsicle. But, I really get frustrated. I'm sorry, but you have to look at it. We have to have a little humor, but you can really, I don't know how I'm going to vote, Mr. President. I really don't. It was all guns coming in here, and I was going to cut like Marcus did and you were. But I have to use the word, Mr. President, because you hit that hammer. You can't show your feelings. So I yield the floor. Go ahead. He wants to talk.
Just one quick thing.
Councilor Giannatalli?
Everyone understands the history between the mayor and I, but I hope people understand that my proposals was intended to help, slow the bleeding, prevent putting this all on the backs of the taxpayers. And the mayor fought against it tooth and nail, and the council did not propose most of my cuts in the first page. So just think about that. If I really believed in what I just said, I wouldn't have proposed a single dollar, and I would have let the ship sink. And I tried to help. I hope the public remembers that. And I recall when, in these meetings, there were deficits that were a fraction of this one. And some of my colleagues who are serving today and who used to serve, rightfully so, were pounding the table demanding austerity measures. Other than a handful, I didn't see that. And so that is why I'm convinced that in the near future, those matters that CLA brought up are going to come to the forefront. There is no way this is going to get better unless that report is abided by. And I can guarantee you it won't be abided by, because I don't know if the council then is going to adopt those kinds of taxes, and the public is certainly not going to pass an override. They're not. $900 a year forever? They're not going to demand. If they do vote for that, they're going to demand that we do our part in austerity measures. And I understand cuts are going to hurt services, but we are in a situation that is unlike any we've been in since 2008. And it's largely predicated off of inflation due to COVID and health insurance, which a few short months ago, the employees were in jeopardy of losing their plans. Again, don't listen to me. Read the report. Watch the meetings. This isn't me talking. I'm repeating what independent third-party people have done that we spent money to give us analysis on. What CLA did is what I do every day. They're forecasters. If we're not going to take that seriously, and by seriously I mean if the revenue measures are not going to come forward in the future, what was the purpose of that document? The purpose of that document was to prepare the public. Unfortunately, the public knows nothing about it. They're told everything is great and getting better, and it's not. And so I'm sorry, as a financial analyst by trade, my job is to be honest and forthright with my customers as to how their programs are doing. I feel sorry for the public because I don't have the reach other people do. They're not going to get the truth. They haven't gotten the truth. And as a resident for my entire life, and given where I'm going on this council soon, I fear what's coming. And I speak from 18 years of experience doing this. And to the department heads, you guys have been through the ringer with me before. And I know for a fact that my cuts, if they were adopted, wouldn't have caused any pain at all. Because I've heard it every year, and it doesn't happen. And I will close with this. In the interest of unifying, I was accused of not knowing the city finances that well, which I think is laughable. I know them better than anybody. That's not, I've been here the longest, I've seen it. I don't just put cuts just to put cuts. I did it under 8 years of the previous mayor. Maybe I wasn't publicly critical of him as much, but privately, he'll be the first to tell you I was a big pain in his you-know-what. This is damaging. And the public not knowing about it infuriates me. And they won't know about it. They won't. But they'll find out soon when they get their bill.
Anyone else? Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Really briefly, the gentleman from Ward 2 made a good point. The department heads and really all the departments have done a terrific job making the sacrifices they have so far. I want to commend them for that. I want to commend them for as far as they've gotten so far in this budget. And to reiterate, it's nothing personal. There's a storm coming. They're not lying about that. But we're here, and I don't know if, Mr. President, it would be appropriate to take a quick break as we don't have a full body right now that was here when we started, or if we just want to do a vote. But I would also request a roll call vote when it's taken. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
All right. If we won't take our vote until we have our full complement back. I'll just say briefly, I am very sympathetic to the position articulated by the gentleman from Ward 6 that even if we can't all come to an agreement on particular cuts, part of that is an executive responsibility. On the other hand, there's a part of me that wants to go with that rationale, but there's another part of me that says there must be a solution isn't a solution. If I can't see it, and if we as a body can't find it, irrespective of the fact that some of us have proposed solutions, I'm not trying to discount that, but if we as a body can't agree on a solution, I'm not sure it's fair to say, well, there must be one, though, and kick that back on someone else. If I could see my way clear to something that would solve the problem and it just wasn't happening, I'd vote no. And so I entirely respect the fact that I'm sure several of my colleagues are going to, because they made proposals. They did the work. And frankly, I suspect at least a few more of those would have been adopted had they been maintained, but not enough to make the dent that we need. I understand that. But at the same time, we've got to have a budget, and if we can't see our way clear as a whole body, if we can't see our way clear to a better one than what's been given to us, then it doesn't make sense to just say, I can't solve this, but there must be something you're not doing because it's not good enough. That I can't do that, because I know it would be infuriating to me if I were in that position. So as much as I don't particularly like the budgetary situation we are in, I will be voting in favor of passing this budget. That being said, I'm going to call for a very brief recess before we go to a vote, just so I can see what the status is of our colleague, if no one minds. All right, we are going to go to recess for probably approximately 2 minutes. To return from recess at 10 past 8 p.m. We still have before us the FY26 operating budget.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve. There has been a request for a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Councillor Green?
No.
Councillor Schultz?
Yes.
Councillor Van Hazinga?
Yes.
Councillor Walsh?
Yes.
President Zarella?
Yes.
Councillor Boschman?
Yes.
Councillor Kuchar?
No.
Councillor Cragen?
Yes.
Councillor Cruz?
Nope.
Councillor Di Natale?
No.
4-6.
Motion passes by a vote of 6-4.
Shocker.
Yeah, 6-4. 6-4.
All right. Next, we have 101-25, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $700,000 credited to fiscal year 26 tax levy and charged against overlay surplus.
Motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Anyone on the motion?
On the motion.
On the motion, Councillor Boschman.
One quick thing. I'm going to vote for it, but I'm hoping that we can see our way down the road and we don't use the overlay funds. We try to put it away and try to stick by the budget and keep that for spares, the overlay funds. You know what I mean? I said it before to Jackie. I have said it to Calvin Brooks. I don't like using that money to use for the budget, the overlay. I think we can use it for serious other things. So that's how I feel, but I'm going to support the thing.
Okay. Anyone else on the motion? Any opposition? It is unanimous.
Oh, I'm in opposition.
Oh, you're in opposition?
Yes, I'll be a no.
Okay. In that, if there is opposition, then I need to take this by a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. In opposition?
Aye.
One in opposition. Motion carries by a vote of 8-1. 102-25, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $3,847,163 charged against available funds credited to the tax levy.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Oh. Oh, okay.
Oh, 3796.
Can I get a motion to amend the dollar figure to $3,796,163?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Any objections to the amendment? Seeing none, it is unanimous. Now I have the motion before us on the appropriation itself. Any objection? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. In opposition?
Aye.
One in opposition. Motion carries by a vote of 8-1. 114-25, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $450,000 charged against stabilization credited to the FY26 tax levy.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Anyone on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. In opposition?
Aye.
2 in opposition. Motion carries by a vote of 7-2. 103-25, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $120,000 charged against parking meter garage receipts credited. I'm sorry?
Who was the second one?
Who was the second one? Oh,
Me.
Councilor Curtis.
Okay, thank you.
Charge against parking meter garage receipts credited to FY26 accounts as followed: $40,000 to treasurer personal services and $80,000 to treasurer expenses.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
In opposition? It is unanimous, 9-0. Yes, thank you. 104-25, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $55,000 charged against PEG access and credited to the following accounts: IT PEG expenses 25 and IT PEG capital 30. We need an amendment to reduce the total amount to $25,000 and to eliminate the line for PEG capital per our earlier votes.
So moved.
I have a motion and second for the amendment. Any objection? Seeing none, it is before us as amended.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. In opposition? All right, carries 9-0. 105-25, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $45,000 charged against cemetery sale of lots and graves and credited to FY26 cemetery personal services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. On the motion, all in favor? Aye. In opposition? Carries 9-0. 106-25, order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $9,018,485 charged against Water Enterprise Fund receipts and credited to Water Enterprise Fund FY26 as follows: personal services $2,417,125, expenses $2,421,000, indirect costs $452,300, debt service $2,178,060, and capital expenses $550,000.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
In opposition? Carries 9-0. Order that there be and hereby 10725. Order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $20,037,331. This is per our earlier amendment. Charging $18,344,495 against enterprise fund wastewater enterprise fund receipts, and $1,692,836 against wastewater enterprise fund retained earnings, and credited to FY26 wastewater enterprise fund accounts as follows: personal services $3,094,268, expenses $6,313,005, indirect costs $1,555,300, debt service $6,673,958, and capital expenses $2,400,800.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. On the motion, all in favor? Aye. In opposition? Motion carries 9-0. 108-25. Order that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $1,100,437 charged against airport receipts reserved and credited to FY26 airport fund accounts as follows: personal services $354,799, expenses $745,638.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and second. On the motion, all in favor? Aye. In opposition? Motion carries 9-0. One more. With the consent of council, I'm not going to read out every line of this, but this is approving the expenditure of funds from the listed revolving funds as authorized by city ordinance up to the amount available in the fund, or $100,000, whichever is less, except public health sustainability, which shall have an FY26 limit of $750,000.
Motion to accept.
I have a motion and second. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. In opposition? Motion carries 9-0. And that concludes the business of the council as a whole committee.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and second to adjourn. Seeing no objection, we are adjourned, and we are going to go directly into the meeting of the city council unless anyone needs a recess first.
Recess.
Short recess.
Short recess, okay. We will return. We're adjourning at 8:20. We will commence at 8:25.
Jackie.